Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So of the many things I have going on with my aquarium hobby, there are a few tasks that I'm going to complete tonight, and that will be moving some fish around from tanks to tanks. 4 tanks will be involved, including this one I'm showing right now. This is my 40-gallon breeder aquarium. My last video I pointed out the algae issues. As you can see, there's diatom all over the front of the glass, the sides, and then for the first time experiencing what I believe is staghorn algae up here in these plants. So I'm going to try to take care of that with certain algae-eating fish. So I have an otocinclus and a Siamese algae eater that are going to be moving in here. And those will be moving from this 10-gallon aquarium. So this is sort of serving as a holding tank, was a quarantine tank, was going to be my mud guppy tank. I actually started stocking this for that purpose before I knew that 40-gallon tank was going to exist, before I moved. But this Siamese algae eater right here, I'm going to move over. Somewhere in here there is an otocinclus. I believe just one. I did have more at a time, but I've only seen one recently. And there is a honey gourami. There's the honey gourami right there. So this is all going to be contingent on whether I can catch them. Might be hard, but... So, in this instance, I'm just going to plop and drop them. Basically, I'm just going to scoop them out of this and drop them in the other tank. Because I just tested the water and the parameters are identical. They're both at room temperature, so temperature is identical. And so these 2 tanks will be involved. Also, this 20-gallon long, I'm going to move this male out into the 40-gallon. And again, this aquarium, the water parameters are identical. pH, nitrate levels, KH, all identical. So this male, that's the one lone male from the first batch of the guppies born. It's the mother right there. She has had 3 batches of babies since I put her in here. Oh, and by the way, the one lone surviving pygmy corridora has disappeared. Unfortunately, we're pretty disappointed about that. I thought by the time of the 8 that I hatched out, and it was the only one that survived, and I figured by the time I moved it in here it would be fine, and it seemed to be for a while, but now I just haven't seen it in probably 2 weeks now, so I believe it has perished and is gone, and that's unfortunate. But I will try to breed pygmy corridors again. I'll need to. I mean, one of my 10-gallon tanks, they may have been having babies, and only one time I was able to see it as it happened, as they were spawning to collect the eggs. I'll try it again. And this tank was when I set this up, the plan was really to use this as a breeding tank, but to try to breed egg-layered fish and not guppies. I ended up just putting this guppy in here just to make use of it, because I wasn't ready to have the time to try it with egg layers just yet. I mean, I got brine shrimp eggs, baby brine shrimp eggs, to try to hatch them feed live food to feed two babies and to get egg layers to more ready to breed from eating live food like corridors. And I still plan on doing that, but right now the plan is I'm going to move the lone male from the first batch out of here. I will take a couple females with it, and then I'm going to move two male Endlers in here, a yellow tiger Endler and a blue Endler, so that way these females that are just growing up should be virgins, and then let them mix their genes and then see what kind of funky babies they can have. That's what's left of the pearl weed. For whatever reason, it just won't grow for me. And that's what's left of the Hydrocuddle tripartita Japan plant. Again, that's just all that's left of it. There was more when I got it, but yeah. And that's part of the reason why the water is low, because I wanted to have more light. Just going through more water is lower par, but when I move these fish, I'm going to just do a water change and fill it up. Alright, I'll show you the guppies that are going to go in, or the endlers that are going to go in here. So here's my 10-gallon quarantine tank. There's two guppies, or endlers. This yellow tiger Endler and that blue one. Those are the ones I'm going to move to that 20-gallon. And the rest are going to stay in here for now. I am going to move all these lamb chop reservoirs along with that green neon tetra to that 40-gallon, but I'm not going to do it just yet because the pH in this tank is a bit lower. It doesn't match the other tanks, and I think this is, when I first got it, I got a dozen of these, and this is the only one that survived, so I think they just had a hard time adjusting, so I want to be able to do it when I have the time to properly acclimate it, because like I said, I'm just going to plop and drop these with even though the pH is lower in this tank than the 20-gallon, I'm still going to plop and drop the Endlers. They're a hardier type fish that I think they can handle it. And this male neon dwarf gourami and this female, these are going to go in my other 40-gallon tank. These scissor tail reservoirs are going to go in my 84-gallon tank that's not even set up yet, along with that pearl gourami. And there's another black neon tetra that's going to go in the 40-gallon. I have the one with the algae that I started this video with. That's there's three others in there, so it's going to join them. And then I have two rummy nose tetras, of two that survived ick from the 11 that I got from Petco. Those are going to go in the 84-gallon, along with the two roseline sharks in here. There should be two, yeah, those two. And there is also white clouds in here. Those will probably be going in that 20-gallon long after I'm done playing around with guppies in there. I'm going to try to put those in there to breed those, but yeah. Alright, so I'm going to start trying to gather some fish and move them, so stand by. Quick look at the otocinclus just put in the 40-gallon right here, just in case when I show it again, in case I can't find it. Alright, stand by. And while we're at it, let's drop in a Japanese trapdoor snail. This is a baby juvenile. Alright, let's make it 2. Here's a second Japanese trapdoor snail. Okay, so all the fish that were going to be moved have been moved. So let's look at the fish in their new home. A 40-gallon brew tank here. So we have the honey gourami. So it's been swimming around while it was in the 10-gallon, which is pretty crowded. It's been kind of hiding. I think the one lone male swordtail in there is getting kind of aggressive. Just, you know, they can just being in a 10-gallon tank and not having that much space. I expect I'll be moving him. And the otocinclus is right there in the back on the Amazon sword plant. So I'm hoping I'll be seeing it up against the glass, just with its sucker mouth, eating some of that algae. And here's the male Guppy Endler hybrid. Has like scarlet Endler genes, so it's already comfortable in its new tank, trying to hook up with this female right here. So when I got that male out of that tank, I also brought 5 other guppies over. 2 were for sure females. I think this might be one of them. That might be one of them right there. So 2 of the older females, and then just as I was scooping up in the net, like 3 other fish came along, so I just dropped them in there. And this is a yellow cobra Endler. That was from the 10-gallon when I snatched up the otocinclus. That was in the net too, so I just came along for the ride. And I didn't even think of it at the time until I was in the 10-gallon quarantine tank. These are the Japanese trapdoor snails. These are new snails for me. I got them pretty recently. While I got they were in the 10-gallon quarantine tank with the fish that I got in there that I haven't had that long. But these have potential to become one of my favorite snails. So those 2 were born in that 10-gallon tank, and I don't know a lot about them, but these 2, like, I don't know if they would eat diatom algae, say like a nerite snail would. If they do, that'd be pretty awesome. Because all this diatom algae, a nerite snail will eat all that, and nerite snails would have awesome looking shells, but they lay those white eggs that just don't go away, and like little like sesame seed eggs. And then there's a ramshorn snail, bladder snails, and there's Malaysian trumpet snails. So those don't really, I guess to some degree they would eat algae. I mean, these guys are all like oil and gas, but they don't do it enough to clean it up. A nerite snail would just like, you'd see like tracks of it, like with its mouth going along, clearing a path. And otocinclus would do the same. So we'll see how long it takes. If this one lone otocinclus will have plenty to eat. Then where is the Siamese algae eater right here? So we'll see if it will eat this, what I believe to be staghorn algae. I know that I've put Siamese algae eaters in tanks where I've had blackbeard algae issues, and they have done an amazing job with that. So hopefully it can do the same with the staghorn algae. If that fails, I could try a mono shrimp. I do have a mono shrimp. It was suggested to me on my previous video that a mono shrimp would do it, but my experience with the mono shrimp have been disappointing because I got them for the purpose of cleaning green hair algae in one of my tanks, and they suck at doing that. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And once this is this is going to be a display tank, so it is coming along. I still need to add those rasbors and some platies in here that doesn't have any, and some corridors. All right, let's check out the 20 gallon. All right, so here's a 20 gallon where I added this yellow tiger Endler right here, looking pretty awesome, and that blue Endler. Certain angles you can see you can see the blue pretty good right there. But since I added them in here, they've only been giving each other attention. I guess they're trying to establish dominance, but I figured there's females that are close to 3 months old now, so, and even the original mother right there, figured she would get some attention from them, but once they settle in, I think they'll want to start spreading their genes to the females, and that's the purpose of them being in here. Because I know these have red scarlet Endler genes, and that just because the one male showed that. That's the only one that colored up. So as others color up, we'll see what they are, and the plan is to move other males as they color up so that I can get more yellow tiger Endler genes spread to them, so we can have them to himself that and the blue Endler. And while I was in here, I just added a couple more rocks to this little kind of, I don't know, teepee formation kind of thing, just so the shrimp can have a place to hide. And look at this sponge filter with all that blackbeard algae on it. So at some point I'll have to add a Siamese algae eater in here. And that's how I'm going to use them, just move them from tank to tank to do a job. Alright. And then further down the road, I'm going to use this tank for breeding egg layers like cubensis. That's what I set up, this coconut hut over here. Tried corridors, white clouds. Okay, and here is another 40-gallon tank that's right next to that one. So this is another display tank with both of these side by side for display purposes, and be adding more fish to this tank. Corridors, the neon tetras, these neon tetras in this 10-gallon. And some Pandagaras that I have in other tanks, and corridors to be added in here. Yeah. And then here's the 84-gallon tank. So I still have to get this set up. And that's the tank I've been wanting for years. So, I mean, I've had it now for a few months, but I just haven't had time to set it up. But I'm really looking forward to doing that. So yeah, got a lot going on. So stay tuned for everything that's coming up. And that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.